there's an intersection, and you can see the street sign that says on one side, Wisdom, and on the other side, Main. Wisdom and Main Street. You get an intersection, people go different directions. And obviously those streets go different directions. And when you think about that from a spiritual and a biblical standpoint, Main Street is a street followed by most, but it's not necessarily the street you really want to follow. Because when you go back to the Old Testament, in Exodus chapter 23 and verse 2, Moses says, don't follow a multitude to do evil. Don't necessarily be on Main Street. Don't necessarily be with everybody. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13, walk wide and broad is the way, i.e. Main Street. But he said Main Street leads to destruction. And a lot of people are going on Main Street. He goes on in verse 14 to say, straight and narrow is the way that leads to life. That's not Main Street, but few there be that find it. And in that street, Wisdom Street. That was not as well traveled, is it? There's not as many people on the Wisdom Street. And you think about all of the good things the Bible says about wisdom. Proverbs 2 and verse 6, Ecclesiastes 2 and verse 26. It's the Lord that gives wisdom. Proverbs 11:2 says, humility. With humility comes wisdom. In Proverbs 16:16, it tells us that it's better to get wisdom than gold. How many people are out trying to get gold? And then how many people are trying to get wisdom? In Proverbs 19 and verse 8, Solomon said, one who gets wisdom loves life. In James chapter 1 and verse 5, if any lack wisdom, all we've got to do is ask of God, and he gives generously to all. Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 10 tells us something about Wisdom Street. Wisdom is found in those that take advice. Proverbs 3 verse 7 says, don't be wise in your own eyes. James 3:17 says, on Wisdom Street, that comes from above is pure, peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy, good fruit, impartial, and sincere. Solomon says in Proverbs 3 and verse 13, blessed are those that find wisdom, looking for that road. We come to intersections, don't we? What street am I traveling on? Am I on Main Street or am I on Wisdom Street?